So my name is Frédéric Destrebecq. I'm the Executive Director of the European Brain Council, which is a European Brussels-based advocacy organization promoting brain research, brain health and brain innovation at the European level. So working with European institutions to really promote public investments, public-private partnerships and other collaborations in order to boost solutions and innovation in the brain space to address the unmet needs in our space. Because mental and neurological disorders all together, plus also the combination of some rare neurological conditions, are seen as the first cause of disability in the world and in Europe, and the second cause of disability in the world and in Europe. And for that reason, it was important for us to be able to get access to international institutions as well, to really support our work at EU level. That's why we are in New York. And we were so pleased to work with the ICPC on the Last Mile event, because the combination of efforts and the commonalities in our agenda are so vibrant that we thought it was important to maybe shed light and give a perspective and a complementary perspective from the brain disease ecosystem, if I can put it that way, and also demonstrate that the needs in neuroscience, brain science, and basic research in the brain space really needs harvesting in terms of the way they are translated, and this knowledge gets translated to the benefit of patients and the millions of people living with a brain condition. Well, that's a complicated question because it's so multifaceted. But as I just said, when we talk about brain conditions, there is a need to address the unmet need. And we can regard it in two ways: is how we can do better with what we have currently, but also how we can generate novel therapeutic options for the future and to treat what we cannot treat today. Now, in this context, whether improving outcomes currently or in the future, we have an issue as to make treatments available to those in need. And this translation and this implementation of innovation is definitely for us the key challenge. So it requires collaboration, it requires investments, it requires greater prioritization, but above all, a greater understanding of the intricacies of the ecosystem. And this is what we are promoting as EBC. Well, again, you know, the importance of being in New York and being there during UNGA, particularly in 2025, is because of the high-level meeting on the strategy for non-communicable diseases that is going to be discussed. A certain number of priorities will be reassessed and reprioritized or re-identified. But what we definitely saw is the way by which this is influencing the action at a country level, but also at a regional level. So for us as a European organization, we really saw that as a priority need in order to support our work back in Brussels, because at the end of the day, European institutions, national governments will be following, let's say, these mothership instructions or mothership vision and direction led by the UN and led by the other UN agencies. So that's why we are particularly hopeful that this week is delivering a very concrete impact in terms of the revision of the NCD strategy. Well, in terms of partnership, we very interestingly have a concrete example in the brain space. Is that the European Partnership for Brain Health is about to be launched in January 2026. And it's the demonstration where collaboration across countries, because it will be a co-funding between different governments in Europe and their national funding agencies, with a top-up of the European Commission. It demonstrates ways by which you can prevent duplication and fragmentation of efforts, but also find synergies between different governments on common priorities. And with that, then create a leveraging effect where you can then get into your trail other investors, public-private partnerships, or investors coming in order to support the innovation uptake and the innovation scale-up that should, be the outcome of the whole endeavor. So we hope that with that in mind, we can illustrate this notion of international collaboration, and obviously putting it in an international context would be great icing on the cake, because we can't solve these problems on our own, and getting participation from other associated countries to the European endeavor is extremely important. We have countries such as Canada, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and other Latin American countries or countries from Asia as part of the partnership, and we look forward to having a greater number joining in.